Folks, what's up? This is Michael on the Graveyard Shift in the wee hours of the night with your daily trivia question. Once again, I don't know about you guys, but Monday was brutal. Goodness gracious, it was the beginning of a new week. It was a busy day. Yeah, it was still productive, but it was extremely busy, and it was the beginning of classes, and I'm tired. That's all there is to it. There's no other way to describe it. I just feel like I've been run through the ringer on a very busy Monday. But nonetheless, it's terrific Tuesday, and we are moving right along. So let's just keep on going. So the answer to the previous trivia question was none other than a gentleman named Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh is known in history as a Vietnamese revolutionary and statesman who adhered to what is referred to as an ideology of Marxism and Leninism. This was the main communist movement throughout the 20th century. With this type of authoritarian leadership, Ho Chi Minh served as the Prime Minister of North Vietnam from 1945 to 1955 and as president from 1945 until his death, all the way up to 1969. And as such, he rose to power as the key figure in the People's Army of Vietnam and the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War, and the ultimate divisions of that part of the country, with the communists in control of North Vietnam. The Vietnam War, of course, as we know, lasted from 1955 to 1975. Ho Chi Minh is an interesting character to research. In addition to being a politician, Ho Chi Minh was also a writer. He was a poet. He was a journalist. He was fluent in Chinese, Vietnamese, and French. He was a smart fellow. Early in his life, his travels would take him to the United States, the UK, and he would eventually be exposed to a political education in France, where he began publishing newspaper articles advocating for Vietnamese independence, which would eventually culminate in petitioning for recognition of the civil rights of the Vietnamese people to the Western powers. This is where his notoriety, if you will, kind of surfaced early on. When these efforts were ignored, Ho Chi Minh would further travel to the Soviet Union and China, which would subsequently lead him back to Vietnam in the 1940s, where he surfaced as the primary leader in independence movements, culminating in what became known as the August Revolution of 1945. That was the focus of the trivia question. All of these activities were, of course, prerequisites for the eventual Vietnam War, which was officially fought between North Vietnam, supported by the Soviet Union and China and led by Ho Chi Minh, and South Vietnam, which was of course supported by the United States efforts at democracy, which lasted almost 20 years with direct U.S. involvement, ending not until 1973. Now, during the Vietnam War, what was a logistical network of roads and trails that ran from North Vietnam to South Vietnam and provided support in the form of manpower and material to the Viet Cong became known as the Ho Chi Minh Trail. That was also one of the focuses of the trivia question. There's a picture up there in the top right corner. Sections of the Ho Chi Minh Trail still exist today, and parts of it have been incorporated into paved roads that connect the north and south regions of Vietnam. And as my research serves me correctly, it's quite a tourist attraction, actually, today. And you can still see parts of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, for sure. That is a lot to cover in a brief 4 minutes, if you will. And there's a lot of in-between history and upbringing and in the in-between for Ho Chi Minh. And I would encourage you to do some research on this man, as the communist leader of Vietnam, and also research the Ho Chi Minh Trail and how those roads and those network of roads and trails helped the North Vietnam move much needed resources into South Vietnam during the Vietnam War. He's an interesting character, and there's a lot more history out there. So if you get a chance, look it up. All right, folks, let's keep the week going with a brand new trivia question. See if you can remember this. This was recent enough where all generations should have a shot at remembering this. For August 23rd, on this day in 2005, this hurricane initially forms over the Bahamas and would later become a massive Category 5 hurricane that would go on to cause over 1,800 fatalities and $125 billion in damage. It's really a great trivia question when you think about it. What was the name of the hurricane? There was a lot of storms coming through that year, folks. Good luck. Have a terrific Tuesday. Thanks for all you do. Keep up the good work. Peace out, folks.